Scenario. Let's say you walk inside this bookstore. No brands, just bookstore. And then you picked up a book. And then you looked at the cover and be like, oh my God, I like this. Oh, actually, I know this author. So I'm going to buy this book. And then when you flip it over and then you look down, if you've ever hesitated to buy a book because of the price, just know that you are not alone. Books in the Philippines, unfortunately, are notoriously expensive. And we're going to talk about it today. We're going to break down exactly why that is. Is it because of the publishing industry, or there are some underlying reasons behind all of this boom of prices? And most importantly, how can the Philippine market level down these prices so more people and more readers have access to the books that they want to read? This is BookTube. BookTube is a subculture community dito sa YouTube kung saan ang mambabasa ay nagre-react tungkol sa mga kwentong kanyang binasa or sa mga issue na kanyang binasa para sa future na mambabasa. Ikaw yon. Kung ikaw ang isa sa mga mababanggit ko na mga authors, mga writers, publishers, please note that this video is not meant to hate, berate, humiliate, or cause tea or drama sa'yo, sa inyo at sa community nyo. This is just me. You know, we're just here gonna talk. We're just gonna exchange brains for a sec, because I'm actually very curious about what's your take on all of these books prices in the market today. Now that that's done, just in case you have the attention span of a goldfish, you can look down in my descriptions, just right there, and then you're gonna see the timestamps, or you can actually play this video in 2x speed. Let's go talk about it. Books now in the Philippines are expensive. If you compare your local books to the international books, sometimes they're even priced the same, if not more. One of the reasons I think is that we don't really have a large scale of production when it comes to our own books. Unlike other countries, Philippines mostly relies on international imports of the material. What do I mean by this? Paper, ink, what else? Sometimes even printing. Unlike US or, the other Western countries, their books are mass-produced in millions of copies. In the Philippines, some of the local publishers would only print in thousands. And even if they're printing in thousands, not all of those books are going to be sold right away. And just so you know, the smaller the print runs for a specific title, the more expensive the book is going to be. Why? Because, again, materials. 2, the import taxes and the logistics of things is insane. Even when books are printed abroad, once they come here in the Philippines, import duties and transportation cost so much pricier than if the books are printed here. Also, bookstores also need to cover for their own expenses, like rent, employee salaries, their staff salaries, and of course, distribution. So, let's say this, if you are buying a 600 pesos worth of book, you're not just buying that book. And you're also not just paying for the paper and ink. No, you are covering for the entire ecosystem that goes behind the publishing. Right, let me break it down to you even further. A book's price includes the following. We got printing and production for imported materials, the publisher's cut, which includes the marketing, the editing, the layouting, what else? The designing of your book, anything that goes behind the production, or rather the publishing of the actual physical copy of your book, and then the retail markups. This is where the bookstores take their shares, and then of course the taxes and shipping. This is where the logistics cost adds up. Now, here is the absolute hard truth. Number 1, reading, unfortunately, is not the mainstream hobby here in the Philippines. Let me bust out my phone so you and I have facts, because facts don't care about emotions. In December 3, 2019, there's an article by Philippine Star Global. It says, Philippines lowest in reading comprehension amongst 79 countries. Now, part of this article really says that they have a lot of 15-year-old students read or rather try to read. And did you know what they found? According to the PISA 2018 profile of the Philippines, socioeconomic status accounts for 18% of variance in reading performance in the country. That is so low. Another thing would be on March 23, 2024, Inquirer.net says this: readership among Filipinos on steady decline, which is a survey. Adult Filipinos are reading less than ever, according to the 2023 National Readership Survey, or NRS, a poll commissioned by the National Book Development Board, NBDB. Look, I'll put the links of the articles in the description so you can read that yourself. So, going back to my original topic, reading is not the mainstream hobby here in the Philippines. So because of that, the book costs is not able to make the book prices lower. The fewer books we print, the higher the price remains. And also, we'd just like to add this, the fact that most people would rather just buy the counterfeits at a lower price. We know this because, again, this has been an issue. There are people who would photocopy the actual legit books, and then they would sell those counterfeits online at a lower price. So instead of the money circling back to the publishers, the money goes to someone else's pockets. So now these publishers, they aren't able to pay for the high cost for their orders, for the papers, for the ink, for the paper boards, for the labor costs, and everything else that I just mentioned earlier. So the next time that they publish a new book from an author that you like, they're gonna have to be BDO, and then they're gonna have to find ways in order to cover for that cost. Which now goes to my next point, which is the reason why we get really expensive books at a shitty quality. Like I said, some people would prefer to just buy the counterfeits, and some of them would buy the soft copies of the book online. If you go on my TikTok and then you go to one of my ang mutya ng Section E videos, you will see there a lot of people offering hey, I have soft copies of this particular title. You can purchase it from me. Darling, that's illegal. Not only is that copyright infringement of the publisher, that's a direct copyright infringement of the author themselves. I understand that most of us needs the money. But come on, guys. Yun yung problema sa atin is that some of you don't understand that you are actually one of the root causes why these publishers, why these books, the quality that you want for these authors, they aren't able to produce that because you are not supporting them. Yes, it's an advantage for you because at least you get the same book. Well, not the same quality, but the same story from the same author, and you purchased it. Still, that's illegal. And that's not really gonna help the author in any way because your authors get royalties. You want your author to get that specific royalties so they can pay for the bills for their electricity. The thing that they use to open their laptops to charge their phones if they are typing from their phones. Oh, what else? Maybe they also need money so they can buy food for their family. Or maybe not that. Maybe they need the money so they can research from other books and maybe go on to other places to see what their story is going to be based on. You know what I mean? All that jazz. These authors, everyone in the publishing industry needs you to stop buying counterfeit books. But the real question is, are you really going to support that? Question, is the price justified? Or are Filipino books simply just overpriced? Bestsellers, those that you see on National Bookstore that are from local writers or local authors, bestsellers, unfortunately, are being produced as a low quality books. Ate, ebooks copies exist. Yeah, and you're buying them illegally. And another thing is, that doesn't really support the Philippine publishers and the bookstores. These people, the publishers and the bookstores and your authors, have families to feed. If you stop buying books, if you stop buying original books, I don't care if that's an original ebook, digital book, audio book, physical book, the publishers and your authors won't have enough funds to continue what you want from them, which is what? Stories. There's now this recent argument that I found online. It says there, books are now a luxury. It is. Because of economic conditions, yeah? Books often take a backseat to the other necessities in life, your daily necessities. So, again, what role do you want to play in this? You keep asking for quality stories. You keep asking for quality book productions. Why aren't you supporting them? Why aren't you supporting your favorite authors? Why aren't you supporting the Filipino publishing houses? Here are some of the solutions that I think would help. Number one, print more locally. Yes, we have a tremendous amount of publishing houses, but here's the problem there. And this is one that I actually do need your help. If ever you have met publishing houses or this new indie publishers that are taking advantage of all of these authors, of all of these aspiring writers, and taking their stories and taking their rights as authors, and then never giving back the money that these authors have spent in order for their books to come out, I need you to start telling them and to start talking about them online. The more we help each other, the more we protect each other, the better community you and I can build. If more publishers invest in local publishing, local printing presses, costs will drop. Another thing would be government subsidiaries or even tax breakers could actually help with the book production. The government-private sectors could also help. Did you know that countries like South Korea and Japan actually invests in these things? They invest in reading programs. So why can't we push for something similar? Why can't we have the same initiatives? The next and finally, the most important thing is for more of us to help and inspire people to read. See, the more readers, the lower the prices. The more books you and I buy. I know. Wait. All right. Hang on a sec. This will sound so capitalistic, but hear me out for a sec. If we start supporting and actively reading more and more Filipino books, you know, the ones that we currently have now, the ones made by our Filipino authors, the ones made by our local publishing houses, if we buy directly from them, we are going to be able to support them. It's like this. The more books we buy, the more demand there's going to be. The more demand, the lower the production costs. So it's like a wheel. It goes back around, you know? So that's definitely something worth thinking about. Oh, another thing would be, how about all cities invest in opening a public library? I know this has been going on for several years now, but come on. I visited our public library here in my city, in my town. My God, the books, the books are not updated. The books look like they've been there for almost a decade and the pages are being torn out. Look, if each town, each city government, LGU would invest in creating a public and open library spaces for the students, we would be encouraging a lot of readers to come there and read. We'd be encouraging education. We'd be encouraging a lot of people to discover something that they're actually actively interested in. And here's another thing. Public schools and private schools, universities even, would have book fairs. I know we already have nationwide book fairs, but how about if the schools themselves also have that? Like they would have books donated to them, or these publishers could like bring in their own books and then sell them to the student body, you know, that sort of thing. Kind of like what Scholastica does. But now it's not just going to be school books. It's going to be all the other trade books and all the other interesting books that the student body and everyone else in that school, in that university might like. Various genres. Anything that we see and we hear online, it's going to be made available straight to the students. What else? How about having an online public library? So those are some of the programs that I think our government and NBDB could actually push more so we can have more readers. NBDB, do contact me. I have a lot of ideas. Final thoughts. Look, books are really expensive. And I'm not just talking about the educational books, okay? I'm also talking about the trade books, the entertainment books, and all that jazz. Look, every time you buy a book, you support an author, you support a publisher, the employees, and an entire industry trying to survive. If we want to see more Filipino stories, then we need to start supporting them. So, my question now to you is, how can we make the books more accessible for the public without hurting the authors and the industry? That's the big question that I want you to help answer. So, how do you want to personally support your favorite Filipino authors? You know what to do. Comment it down below. Don't be shy. And this is how I want you to help me too. I want you to share this video to all of your author friends, to all of your readers, so we can start encouraging people to support local authors, support the publishing industry, fight and encourage for more people to read books and to have access to books, and to finally encourage people to stop buying counterfeits. All right, my battery's gonna die, so I'm gonna go. You know what to do. Share this video. That's it. If you want to comment, do share your comment, and I'll see you guys on another video. Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye.